Hello and welcome to HR from my shed. We're still stuck on furlough, I'm afraid. I'm having a lot of questions still being asked about the terms and conditions really of the extended flexible furlough scheme. So I thought we'd have a little bit of a recap of what's changed. So as we know now, the flexible furlough scheme has been extended until the end of March next year, which is good news. One of the main changes is that even if you haven't used that scheme before, so whether your business hasn't as a whole used it before, or if there's an employee who was never on the furlough scheme before, as long as they were on your payroll and the pay as you earn submission that you would have put in on the 30th of October, then they are eligible for the scheme. So that's one of the key things that I keep being asked is, well, there wasn't furlough before, so I can't use the furlough scheme. Yes, you can. You can use the furlough scheme. Another question is, can holidays be covered? Yes, exactly the same as before. However, just to remember that if an employee is taking holidays whilst they're on furlough, they have to get paid 100% and you claim back the 80%. Okay, so any contractual statutory payments have to be paid in full and you claim back the 80%. So that's another one that we keep getting asked. One of the biggies, notice periods. So in the past, if anybody was put on notice, they'd get their 100% notice and we claim back furlough. No, not under the new scheme at the moment. Okay, so up until the 1st of December, yes, you can claim back notice, but we've been told from the 1st of December to the 31st of January, that's a date that's been mentioned, you cannot reclaim notice period. Obviously, you still put your employees on notice on furlough, but you cannot reclaim it from the scheme. Whether that's going to change after the 31st of January, watch this space, it might do, but we don't know. The important factor again, because there's caught a lot of people out in the first period of furlough, is that the notice period must be paid at 100% of their normal salary rate, not the 80% furlough rate, which some companies will, believe it or not, doing, which is quite sad really, isn't it? So that's another important factor. If somebody was made redundant, can you take them back on? Yes, you can for furlough purposes. You can take them back on so long as they were on your payroll. I think that was the 23rd of September for that one. You can take them back on. But remember, if you take somebody back on, it's great that you'll be paying them furlough. However, they will still then be accruing employee rights, and that includes continuous length of service. Okay, so there's quite a few things that you have to consider before you take somebody back on if we were saying in the beginning their job was made redundant. Okay, so again, make sure that you take professional advice before you make that decision. Most of the other terms of furlough remain the same. So it's flexible furlough. People can work as much as you need them to or not. If your contract allows and you're an employer that allows it, an employee can work for somebody else during flexible furlough. It's important that you have this conversation with your team because their commitment is still to you as their main employer. Okay, so if you decide that yes, they can work for somebody else, you either have to agree a rota system of when you're going to need them back in work, or you have to make it clear to them that there is no legal notice required about when you need them back in work on the flexible furlough scheme. But of course, if we're allowing them to work for somebody else, we would want to put some parameters in place to enable them to carry on working for somebody else. So it's a conversation to be had. Okay, it's as always, what do I say? Communication is key, isn't it? Make sure you're having these conversations. So that's it then. That's a bit of a recap again on the furlough scheme. If you've got any questions on it, I know it is complicated with all the different announcements coming out. Drop me a message, okay, and I'll answer you if I can. As always, thank you ever so much for your support. Thank you for keep sharing my posts. This really is appreciated. And that's it from HR from my shed. Take care, everybody.